All right, so today we are going to look at our weekly news story. So, the name of our story this week is Coronavirus. So, before we start reading, I'm going to give you a chance to look at our communication board. I want you to see if there are any words that you know or that look familiar to you. Just at first glance, I see one of our core words, and one of our core words is the word stop. And I see a picture of hands, so it says wash, they're washing their hands. I see some people here, and I see a lot of people in this picture and in these three pictures that don't really look that well. So we're going to start reading, but if you have printed this document out, you may use this communication board to stop the video at any time so that your student can find the words that might be in our story on their communication board. All right, here we go. So the name of our story is Coronavirus, and this story was published on March 30th, 2020, or 2020, as Xander would say. All right, so what are we reading? What are we reading? We are reading coronavirus. So it says, many people around the world are sick. So if we go back to our communication board, here we can see people, world, and sick. So many people around the world are sick. They have a new illness called the coronavirus. We're going to go to page 2. The coronavirus spreads from person to person. Anyone can get the coronavirus. The coronavirus gives people fevers and coughs. So I'm going to give you a second to use that communication board, take it out, and try to find any of these words on that communication board. All right, I'm going to give you a second so that you can pause the video to do that. Let's look at page 3. The coronavirus spreads quickly. Doctors around the world are working together. They are working to stop the spread now. This word looks familiar. I think we were reading another story about long ago and today, and this was one of those words that popped up in that story. Let's look at page 4. You can help stop the spread too. Wash your hands often. Call a doctor when you feel sick. So we're going to now look at our game page. And so the game page, we have 6 pictures here. And there are 4 pictures on this page that relate to topics that were in our story. So I'm going to give you a second to look at this page and decide if you know which pictures were in our story and which pictures were not in our story. All right, so let's do this together. All right, so our first picture, this is a picture of blocks. Blocks. Now remember, our story was titled Coronavirus, and here's our communication board. So, was blocks in our story? What do you think? Nah, I don't think so. So what Miss Bankett is going to do, I'm going to use my red pen. I'm going to draw an X over the word blocks. If you don't have different color pens or pencils, that is okay. Just try to draw an X on the word blocks if you printed this page out. If you didn't, were you right? Did you choose the correct answer? Let's look at the next one. Here is the word stop. Stop. Let's go back to that communication board and let's see if we find stop. Remember, I said in the beginning, stop was one of our core words. So stop is on our communication board. Let's see if we can flip back through the story to find it. So here's page 1. I don't see it on page 1, so let's move to page 2. Page 2. I don't see it on page 2. Page 3. Oh, there's stop. Miss Benkett's going to circle it so that you can see it on your screen as well. Here is stop. So, was stop in our story? What do you think? The answer is yes. So I'm going to use my green to circle stop. Our next word is world. World. Was world in our story? Let's look at our communication board. Here I found the word world. Let's see if we can find it in the story. Page 1. There it is in our first sentence, world. I'm going to circle that for you. World. Let's go back to our game page. So was world a picture about coronavirus? I definitely think it was. So we're going to circle it because that is one of those words. Very good, guys. Our next word is coronavirus. So if we think back to the title of our story, which is coronavirus, then we automatically know that this picture has to be in our story, correct? But let's look at our communication board. Let's see if you can find it. It's here on our title, coronavirus. Let's look through the story. Page 1. It's in our title, coronavirus, and it's in our second sentence on the first page. Let's circle that. Coronavirus. So let's go back to our game page. Our game page. Now, was coronavirus in our story? Yes or no? What do you think? Yes, coronavirus was in our story. So we're going to circle that. Our next word is jewelry. Jewelry, jewelry. Now let's look at our communication page and see if we see that on our page. So here I'm going to look at all of my words in pink. I don't see jewelry there. What about our words outlined in blue? I don't see jewelry there either. Let's look at our words outlined in yellow. Do you see the word jewelry anywhere, or do you see that picture for jewelry? Ms. Bankett doesn't. So let's go back to our game page. Jewelry was not on our communication board. So therefore, jewelry was not in our story. And we have one more word on our game page. This is the word spread. Spread. I want you to take the time to try to say that word, spread. Let's go to our communication page. Here I see spread right there. So let's go back to our game page. If it's on our communication page, then it's definitely in our story. So we're going to circle spread. Good job, guys. Awesome work. So now what you're going to do, we're going to go to our review page. And this is this time where you can pause the video again if you have printed this worksheet. To complete this worksheet, with your mom or your dad or any guardian or adult that you have at home or whoever's sitting with you working with you. I'm going to give you a second to try to complete this page. If you have not printed it, pause the video and see if you can figure out the right answers. All right, so question number 1. Now, what Miss Bankett is going to do so that we don't get confused or that our brains don't get tricked, I am going to put a box over the other questions that we are not using at the moment. So we're only looking at question number 1 so that we don't trick our brains. Question number 1, what is the paper about? So did we read about the 2020 census? Did we read about March Madness? Or did we read about the coronavirus? So I want you to take a second to think about that answer. Pause the video if you need to talk about it with an adult. All right, so if we look back at our title page, the name of our story is Coronavirus. Remember, that was the what? Coronavirus. So that means, what was our paper about? Our paper was about the coronavirus. Awesome job, guys. All right. So now Ms. Bank is going to cover up question number 1 and question number 3 because we're only working on question number 2 right now. So question number 2, who? Remember, when we talk about who, that is a person or an animal, okay? Who should you call when you feel sick? Who should you call when you feel sick? Should we call a doctor, a reporter, or an acrobat? I'm going to give you a second to think about that answer. This is a perfect time to pause the video so that you can figure out what that answer is. All right, so if we go back to our story and we look at page 4, if you can find page number 4, our last sentence says, call a doctor when you feel sick. You're going to call a doctor when you feel sick. So let's go back to our review page. Remember, the question says, who should you call when you feel sick? A doctor, reporter, or acrobat? We are going to call a doctor when we feel sick. I know you guys got that answer right. I don't even have to ask. You all are so awesome. All right, let's look at question number 3. So I'm just going to cover up this one now. Here we go. So question number 3 says, where are many people with the coronavirus? Where are many people sick? Sorry, Ms. Bankett skipped over that word. Where are many people sick with the coronavirus? I'm going to give you a chance to think about this question, okay? Are they sick on Mars, the world, or Venus? So I want you to pause this video so that you can talk about the answer with whoever is working with you. All right, so if we look back through our story on page number 1, our first sentence says, many people around the world are sick. The world. So if we go back to that review page, it says, where are many people sick with the coronavirus? Mars, world, or Venus? And many people are sick in the world with the coronavirus. So remember, we go back and we check our answers. So number 1 says, what is the paper about? And we answered coronavirus. Number 2, who should you call when you feel sick? We said a doctor. And our last question, number 3, where are many people sick with the coronavirus? And we said the world. So our last page is our think page. And the question says, what makes you feel the worst? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever you feel, whatever you think is the worst feeling. Does a fever make you feel the worst? A cough, a rash, a headache, or something else? What do you think? This is a great time to pause the video and talk about what makes you feel the worst. Right now, Miss Bankett really hates it when she has a headache. I do not like when I have a headache. That is what makes me feel the worst. All right, so what did we read about today? We read about the coronavirus, and we learned that it is spreading across the world and making people very sick. It can spread from person to person, and anyone can get it. No one is exempt. And this coronavirus gives people fevers and coughs. The virus is spreading very quickly, but doctors around the world are working together, and they're going to try to put a stop to this spread as soon as possible. Now remember, you can help to stop the spread as well. We have to wash our hands, wash for 20 seconds. That is what the CDC recommends, 20 seconds. And if you are not feeling well or if you feel sick, please call a doctor. All right, now this is the end of our story. If you have printed these worksheets, please send me pictures of your students' work and I will gladly post them to our classroom homepage.